What's up everybody, welcome to the video. My name is Keith. Today's video we're looking at the PlayStation 1 and an HDMI connector. What's the best way to connect this PS1 to an HDMI? So we have a normal connector here, we've got some other ones, so we're going to use a RetroScaler and an OSSC to compare the difference and see what it's like on a modern TV. And what's the best way to connect this console, which is very old, well not as old as me, but still quite old, to a modern TV. So let's jump in and let's have a look. So first up, we just have this standard HDMI to PlayStation connection cable. So this is just a normal HDMI cable that goes in the TV. You need to choose 720p or 1080p. So I've stuck this on 1080p. You need a micro USB to power the device, otherwise it won't work. Plug this in your PlayStation, plug this in the TV, and that's basically it. But how is the quality? We'll head over and have a look. So set up here, we're going to be using Ridge Racer Type 4 for all of them, so we can have a comparison of the FMVs and also the gameplay as well. Run it through this clear click recorder, so all of the gameplay can be recorded through the HDMI. Usually you just plug this straight in the TV, but I've got this sort of recorder just to record this. And yeah, obviously PlayStation, so we'll plug this one in. So that's it there, and then you take your HDMI cable, you need to plug it in into the USB, and I've just got this adapter like so. So when you plug it in, it comes up with 1080p, so it is broadcasting 1080p. Turn the PlayStation on and we'll have a look. So in the video there is chapters and timestamps, because what I'm going to do is run the intro for each one so you can see the quality of that intro on that particular one. Towards the end, I'll put comparison with all three of them as well, so you can see like sort of split screen and compare it in more detail there. And then also the gameplay in each one as well. So yeah, like I said, there's timestamps so you can skip forward if you don't want to watch little bits and bobs every now and again. But we'll press power on this one. As you can see, it loads up straight away. There is the border around the TV, and it's sort of over to this side. Border here, border at the top, border there. But that is usually what happens with the HDMI ones on the modern TVs. You can change zooms and stuff, but that's what it is.
He's the one for me, there's no place I'd rather be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To the finish line, everywhere you look, he's right on time. Just like I said.
So the first thing to note is the widescreen format. Obviously, like I said, you have this slight border around the edge, but then obviously you can adjust things with your TV. So I've got here the picture size, so I can change this to 16:9, which is obviously stretch, which it was. You have this wide zoom, zoom, Then you have the 4:3, so you can change your TV to 4:3 and it'll do the native aspect ratio of the PlayStation. So you can play it like this, or like I said, you can just put it to screen fit, which is going to fill all of your screen, which is, if you want to play it that way, you can do. So that was the intro. We'll have a quick lap so you can see the quality of the output.
We're racing weeks 99 in Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1, go! Here we go! It's showtime! Let's go! Keep your cool.
So that was one lap done. I didn't know if you could tell, but this is quite dark. So when you're using the HDMI cheap cable, the brightness isn't there, I don't think, and it's quite sort of pixelated and stuff. So for me, that's not a good thing. Like, to quickly get your PlayStation plugged into a TV with the HDMI cable, then that's spot on. However, with darker things like in a tunnel, you'll see that I crashed because I couldn't see on the TV because it was too dark. So if you're playing bright games, I suppose it's okay, but like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, stuff like that, no go. Even Ridge Racer Type 4 was a no go in the tunnel, and normally it's alright. But yeah, that was that HDMI cable, so probably the worst of the bunch, I think, but we'll head on to the other ones and see what you think. So up next, we have the RetroScaler, and what we're going to do is take the normal cable that came with the PlayStation. You have your colours here, so you have your white, red, and yellow, and then that goes in the PlayStation. So RetroScaler plugged in, we're going to turn the PlayStation on and show that. So what you may notice on the TV is some of the menus, especially like the PlayStation Startup, I found with the RetroScaler, it bounces up and down like that. But with the FMVs and the actual gameplay itself, it doesn't do that. So that's something to bear in mind.
He's the one for me. There's no place I'd rather be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To the finish line. Everywhere you look, he's right on time. The sun set, listen to the ocean air, even out there. Oh, 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 oh.
So one thing to notice on this one, the screen is a lot brighter, and the actual borders around the screen is you have a border on every one, whereas the other one, it was just to the left and the bottom. This has a border around all of it. Even if you do screen fit, it doesn't fill it all. But again, you can also change it to your 4:3. So there's a 4:3 on, so you can still have that aspect ratio using the retro scaler. But we'll jump over, we'll play a game and see how it looks.
Real Racing Roots 99 in Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1, go! Here we go. It's showtime. Let's go. Keep your cool.
So with this one, as you'll notice, in the tunnel it's a lot brighter, so the dark elements of the games are much brighter, so you don't crash like I did with the other one. And that really helps with the game. And like I said, with the menus, they seem to jump up and down. It's very disorientating when you watch it on TV, but the races themselves and the gameplay seems to work fine. But it's just the menus and FMVs. Some of the FMVs do it, some of them don't. It's very temperamental, but I think for using this over a normal cheapy HDMI cable, this is so much better. Those negatives about the jumpiness, fair enough, but the game looks better, I think, and it's much brighter, so you can actually see what you're doing. So that is the retro scaler. Now we're going to jump onto the OSSC, and for that one, we're going to use a SCART lead. So we'll head over, we'll get it, and we'll sort it out. So this is the OSSC, and like I said, you have a input in the back for a SCART cable. So that's just going to go in there like that. Then you hook that up to the TV with the HDMI port. So there, the HDMI out. So that goes from there into your TV. So this is now the OSSC. So we'll take a look at this.
He's the one for me. There's no place I'd rather be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To the finish line. Everywhere you look, he's right on time. Just like I said, racing to the ocean there, he's out there. Oh, 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 oh.
So that is the OSSC, and on the screen itself you'll notice that the bars are there again, so all the way around you have the bars. This also has the screen jumping up and down in the menus for some reason as well, I'm not sure. So jump into race and show that as well.
Real Racing Roots 99 in Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1, go! Here we go. It's showtime. 2 laps to go. Keep your cool.
So for me, the colour on the OSSC is so much brighter and more vibrant, which is really, really good. And the screen sort of stands out a bit more. It might be a bit more blocky, I'm not too sure, but that's up to personal opinion as well. And like I said, with this, you can flick through and you can change it to 4:3 aspect ratio, so you can have the true native aspect ratio. What I'm going to do is put all of these together sort of side by side on the race itself so you can see the differences. I'll sort of switch them around throughout the race so you can see the difference between each side and that sort of thing. But stick around after that because I'm going to go throw an absolute spanner into the works. So there's those 3 options that you may think that you have for connecting up the PS3 to an HDMI, but there is one secret thing which I only found out the other week that you can actually do. And I think that might be my favourite. That's the way I've been playing my PS1 stuff for the last few weeks since I found out about it. So we'll play the race back and then we'll get into the secret.
He's the one for me, and there's no place I'd rather be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To the finish line, everywhere you look, he's right on time. Just like I said, listen to the ocean there, he's without care. Oh, 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 oh.
99 in Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1, go! Here we go! It's showtime! Let's go!
I don't know if you're quite ready for this secret, but what I found out the other week is that PlayStation 3 can actually play PlayStation 1 discs. So you can load up your PS3, HDMI standard, throw in your PS1 disc and it'll read it and you can play it on there. So the last couple of weeks I've been doing some gameplay stuff on the PlayStation 1 games that I enjoy and want to do videos on, and those have all been recorded with the PS3 into that same recorder. So I'll throw up some footage on the screen now of Ridge Racer Type 4 because I was doing that. And for me personally, the colours are bright and vibrant and the pixels and the picture seems much better played on the PS3 than it does any of those devices. Those devices are really good, and if you want to play on the original console itself, then I suppose you can be the choice of that. I probably wouldn't go for the cheapy HDMI lead because, like I said, the colours are really dark and it sort of knacks up your gameplay. But the RetroScaler and the OSSC have both their pluses and minuses, flaws and not flaws for each one. So it's up to you. Obviously, the OSSC is so much dearer than the RetroScaler. Well, I say so much dearer. It's not massively expensive more, but it depends on what you're wanting. So like the RetroScaler, you don't have the option for SCART or some other things. The OSSC, you can't use a S-video either. So I think my N64 is connected up to the RetroScaler with the S-video because it doesn't output RGB, so I have to put it into there, do it that way. Whereas like the PS2 you can use the SCART lead or you can use S-video, so you can put it in that way. So if you had to use the OSSC, you'd have to use a SCART lead. But like I said, there's pluses and minuses of both. In the future I can do some videos on those if you want to see that. But for me personally, if I was going to be wanting to play and use PS1 games on my modern TV, which I'm doing, PS3, that's the way that I would do it. It's just so much easier and so much better, I think, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Some of the consoles like my Dreamcast and the N64, I can't use a PS3 with the HDMI. There's no HDMI output on those things. You can do mods and get different cables and stuff, but that's for another completely different video. But in terms of PlayStation 1, I'll let you be the judge of the RetroScaler OSSC and HDMI lead, and of course the PlayStation 3. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer and which one you think that you would use if you're going to use a PlayStation 1 on a modern TV. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you want more videos like this where I'm testing out various different things with different consoles, adapters, that sort of thing, let me know in the comments below as well and I'll get those done. But until next time, see ya.